Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Voices of Forestry podcast. I'm your host, Seth Stephenson, the communications coordinator for the Arkansas Forestry Association. And I want to give a special shout out to PotlatchDeltic this month. They are sponsoring this month's episode, so thank you to them. We'll hear more from them later on in the show. But for now, we're going to hop into our topic for the month, and that is hunting leases. And I'm joined today by J.D. Neeley, the president of the Neeley Forestry Service, a forestry consultant group down in southern Arkansas. J.D., thank you for joining me.
Well, good morning, Seth, and great to be up here with you. Even though it's a hot day today, we can start thinking about hoping for some cooler days and getting out into the woods here shortly.
That's the dream. That's the dream. It's cooler weather at the very least. So, and you're dressed to the nines today in a jacket and a tie, and I feel underdressed, so you must be especially burning up today.
Well, it is a little stuffy, and it's not my normal attire.
Well, we'll knock this out pretty quick today for you. I know you've got a lot going on. You're also a member of the Game and Fish Commission.
Yes, and actually that's why I'm in this suit today. We've got our induction of cadets this year, our new inductees into the enforcement. We're proud for these young men and women joining the force, and we're going over for that. But it is indeed an honor to serve this state on the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and we do a lot at the commission to provide opportunity for hunters, and of course fishing as well. But opportunity is what we want to see on our public lands. And we want more cooperation on our private lands, and that's what we're going to talk about today is hunting leases. And Seth, I want to point out that 90% of Arkansas is privately owned, and so we have a lot of availability, obviously size-wise, proportionately to private lands, and the opportunities for men and women and clubs to engage hunting activities on private land are huge in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, growing up here, hunting has always been a huge pastime for a lot of folks. I went a couple times when I was younger with my grandfather, and that was a big thing that he loved to do. But, yeah, so this is a huge thing, and hunting leases are an important part of the hunting experience.
It is, and, this year we had an increase in licensed sales in our state, and more people got outdoors. COVID hit, and people really wanted to get outside and spend more time outside, eat more venison and wild game and fish. It's always good. It's a great way to spend time with your family, as you mentioned, with your grandfather, and get to spend time with him. It's a tradition here in Arkansas that we treasure.
Oh, for sure. Well, before we hop more into that, JD, if you could just kind of tell us what it is you do with the Neeley Forestry Service.
So, good question. We manage about 250,000 acres of land in again, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. And that land management is for private landowners, and we oversee their forest management plan. We handle, all of their timber sale administration, silvicultural work. We would oversee any of the operations that happen, and then we also, as we were talking about today, handle hunting leases administration. That's part of our job as their forest manager. For anybody that's wanting to lease lands, we administer those hunting leases. So we really, from the grounds up on their lands, handle all the activities that go on that property.
Okay, all right. Well, let's dive into exactly what a hunting lease is and some, basic details for people who may not know. But I guess that's the place I want to start is what exactly, when I say a hunting lease, what exactly are we talking about?
So let's just dial back down to the basics.
Okay.
So a hunting lease is an agreement between two parties, the hunters and the landowner. So leaseor, leasee. The leaseor would be the landowner, and the leasee would be, the hunter. So you've got this agreement. It could be verbal sometimes. I mean, I have verbal permission from so-and-so. But years ago, and it was a good thing, we passed a law in Arkansas that you have to have written permission to be on property. And that put the burden back on the hunters to have their permission, and also in our trespass prosecutions for hunting on property, alleviated the need or the burden to be on the landowner to have to post everything all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, now you have to have a written permission, to be on the property. Okay. So if I'm going to be on someone's land, I need a lease agreement or at least written permission in my hand, because if a game warden were to check you're supposed to have, a permission slip or some kind of proof of permission. So important that you, have that. But back to the basics of a lease, this lease would normally be a contractual 1-page, 2-page, 3-page, some of them maybe 4 or 5 pages. But it spells out what the landowner expects when as a hunter, I'm on your property. Mm-hmm. As a landowner, I don't want you rutting up my land. I don't want you putting nails in trees. I don't want you, putting up any permanent structures. Anything that you can do food plots, but they need to be here. So all these things are spelled out in a contract. And it typically involves a payment. So the landowner is getting some payment each year. And normally there's some insurance provision in there for the landowner to have would require a certain amount of insurance amount, $500,000, $1 million indemnity policy. So the again, hunting lease basics are just an agreement between a landowner and a hunter. It can be verbal, with some kind of a written slip on a piece of a napkin. Okay. I mean, that's the basic. And it could go up from there. Most of our industries, TMOs and REITs, would have a very elaborate, drawn-up hunting lease. These are typically renewed every year. Mm-hmm. And so it gives the hunter, confidence that they're going to have a place to hunt next year.
Well, it's funny you mentioned just having it written on a napkin, because that was literally going to be my next question was, so this is a pretty sizable legal document, or it can just be written on something like a napkin.
Sure. If
you're, needing something pretty quick.
Sure.
Okay. That's good. So I guess, what is the benefit of both? Is it better to have like an official legal document, or is it better just to be like, yeah, you're good, here's your permission slip, so to speak?
Well, most in their other forestry consultants throughout the state that do the same things we do in management of private land, and they would have a similar 2, 3, 4-page lease document that normally is drawn up by an attorney. Mm-hmm. We are not attorneys, so we hire attorneys to prepare our leases. And these documents are well thought out. And the benefits to both parties, Seth, really, they spell out everything that the landowner expects. Mm-hmm. So the hunter and the hunter group, they know what they can and can't do. And so there's no hurt feelings. There's no, potential for conflict down as that year progresses. Because the landowner does not want to go on the property and all of a sudden, well, I didn't tell y'all you could do this, and now there's, they cut down a bunch of young pine trees to make a shooting lane. Mm-hmm. That would be bad.
Yeah.
And things are spelled out, and good communication is always important. I think throughout the year, we hear, quite often from our landowners, if something happens, beavers might dam up a creek. Well, I'm the landowner, I'm the land manager. I need to know this. So it's very helpful for us to have communication from our hunters. Maybe there was a storm, blew down some trees. Maybe there's a bug spot. Things happen in the forest sometimes that we get, you might say, intel or learn about some things often prior to us getting there that really are helpful. And they help watch out for, trash dumping and keep things picked up. They will bush hog your roads. So the benefits to the landowner are nice. You know who's there. You're getting a payment. You've got insurance. You feel good. You go to sleep at night knowing you're not going to get sued. You also have got some watchful eyes out there on the property. And then, of course, for the hunter, the benefits are you've got a consistent place to go. You build relationships, and we'll probably talk more about this. But it's a place you get to spend time with your family and friends and enjoy the place in the great state of Arkansas.
So it sounds like a lot of it, too, comes down to, for the landowner at least, is there is a sense of control that you still have on your property, letting, whether it's family, friends, or just strangers out into your property to hunt.
Right. You have the assurance under a good lease agreement that's well worded, well spelled out, again, drawn up by an attorney, that you've got control over what happens. And you develop good friends. Normally, you've got a good friend with the club and the people that are on your place.
Okay, all right. Now, something that we were talking about before, and I went into this conversation thinking, or I was going into this conversation thinking, this was a landowner only concern, but like you said, it's not. Like hunters also need to be well aware of hunting leases and what they can do for them, right?
Right. So, yes, the hunters, will find out that the hunting leases in their are available. I think I'd mentioned we have on our website lands that are available, that we manage, and then other consultants will have this. Some of the major TMOs and REITs industries will have those available either directly on their websites or through their lease platform, such as Orbis is one that's used very commonly. And so you can peruse through and find lands available easily, more easily than ever, and helping trying to connect and find a place. And another way, if it's just kind of back to the old school, if you're looking for a lease and just riding down the road, I wonder, if that spot's available. You could through Onex or any of the other landowner platforms out there on your iPhone apps, you can find out landowner information just in the spur of a moment. You can tap on it and find out whose property and a mailing address and reach out. And they might say, yes, it's leased, but they might say, hey, we'll be happy to talk to you about it. And so more than ever, it's easy to find places to hunt, with technology.
So even if you are a landowner and you don't think you're going to be leasing out your property for hunters now, it is probably good to have this information in your back pocket if you are approached later down the road, or if you do think, hey, maybe I want a little more income coming, so I'll lease out my land for hunters.
Right. And again, the benefits, we have found most landowners greatly appreciate the benefits of having a lease. And again, it's income, covers your taxes, maybe a little more. But the main thing, it's knowing you've got some eyes out there that are on the property. Most of these folks don't just spend time there during hunting season. It's a year-round deal. They love to go out there with their wives, their kids, their family, ride the four-wheelers, go bird watching. They might be there to start filling up feeders in the summer and putting out cameras, and it's a fun hobby.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, and you really enjoy the outdoors year round now, and it's another, again, great benefit we have here in Arkansas with all of our resources.
For sure.
Not every state has the amount of land available like we do here in Arkansas. You go out west, it's much tougher to hunt. Some private lands and public lands are maybe not as accessible. So we are blessed here for sure.
Awesome. Well, JD, I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break right now to hear more from our sponsor, Potlatch-Deltic. So we will be back here in a few seconds.
At Potlatch-Deltic, we know Arkansas, our forest, our land, and our people. We are here in Arkansas every day, sustainably managing timberland, producing lumber, developing Chenal properties, neighborhoods, and selling recreational real estate. If you're interested in having a place of your own for hunting, hiking, fishing, or just relaxing, visit our website at potlatchdelticlandsales.com.
And we're back. Thank you once again to Potlatch-Deltic for their sponsorship of this month's episode. So, JD, we're going to continue on with our conversation, and I guess one thing that I want to specify here specifically is that we are talking about Arkansas in general. Each state probably has a little bit different law-wise when it comes to hunting leases and hunting properties, so we would suggest you look into that. If you aren't in Arkansas, look into what your state law says. But if I was wanting to get a hunting lease, whether I was a hunter or a landowner, either way, who is the best person that I would go to? Would I go to a forestry consultant to do that?
That's a great question, Seth. And, I think I would certainly start with some of the consultants in the area that you're looking for, and giving them a call. We have lots of calls that people are calling in. Hey, I'm John Smith. I'm looking for 400 to 500 acres for myself and some family to lease. Sometimes they will be county specific. I really want to be in Ouachita County, and sometimes they might say, "Well, I'm free to go several counties out." And so. We get that information, take it down, and as we have something available, we'll match them up. So I think that's a good source. And again, going to a lot of the companies that own land, the TMOs and the REITs now, you can go on their websites and again go to their most use some kind of web-based platform to manage their leases, and such as Orbis, and they would have on their site lands available with those. It would be if I'm Potlatch-Deltic, there's going to be my lands available for lease would be on that site, and so I can. Well, I'd like that spot, so let me click on it and lease it. And literally, I would lease it online, possibly sight unseen, or I might go visit it and then come back and lease it. So those are probably the easier ways to do it. And and then other than that, excuse me, you're just knocking on some doors and again doing that checking around. And then there's also clubs that are looking for people. And so kind of depending on which area you're looking at, you might see a hunting club, and you might find out who those people are. And often they're looking for some new people. We might have had some that have gotten old and not able to hunt, and they're looking for new members to come along and join and to help take care of the leases. So those are probably the easier ways to try to plug in and find a spot.
So with a hunting club, I guess if you just want to join one, the club already has a hunting lease, ideally set up with whoever they're leasing the land from.
Right. So that would be an easy path into getting into a lease. You're just joining with a group that's already got the leases in place. They, would issue you a membership, and most of those dues would cover leases. That's usually your primary cost in joining the club. It pays for your leases, and then whatever other club activities. So one thing I want to point out right here, Seth, oftentimes a camp will have a campsite on the property, and usually those are separate agreements, camp lease agreements, campsite agreements, and those are going to be separate than a hunting lease agreement. So the camp lease agreement would specify things like, well, you can occupy, this boundary right here, maybe a half acre or acre. Could be, an old traditional campsite. Might be an old log deck. Typically, they would specify no permanent structures. You can put up tents here. You move your campers in. You could have something that even in some kind of little portable building, if you would, but everything would have to be portable and able to be moved off the site. And those agreements would have a separate payment. Again, an attorney would draw those agreements up, specified no either, if you have a campfire, it has to have a, certain boundary around it from the forest. You need to have protection. And then some might have no campfires. We don't want any campfires on our campsites. And so all those, again, would be spelled out. That protects the landowner and the leasee from knowing, what their rights are.
So with a camp lease agreement, if a family wasn't necessarily interested in hunting, could they seek that out to maybe just do some camping, kind of like what you mentioned earlier in the show with the family? If they just want to go out there, every couple of weeks and just camp, is that something that they can search for?
That would be a little different scenario. Normally, you would attach the hunting rights with a camp lease agreement. Now, there's certain areas of our state. Again, we have such beauty and diversity here in this state, Seth, that maybe it's along a beautiful river. The upper headwaters of the Washita River, or the Little Missouri, or anywhere, but or up on a mountaintop, that you could have some wonderful recreational opportunities. That's more important and would be more desirable than and outweigh the hunting rights. So those certainly, I'm sure would happen and do happen in some spots, but typically in southern Arkansas, it generally would involve hunting rights staying with the camp rights. Okay. Because you wouldn't, it would be a conflict there if you were to have camping going on during hunting season, and those two user groups would maybe not be in conjunction.
I guess there is a huge safety concern at that point that landowners don't want to get themselves into. So that makes perfect sense. Well, JD, I think we kind of covered most everything that I wanted to touch on with you today, but is there anything else that I'm missing that you think folks should know when it comes to hunting leases? Well, we've certainly covered some of the basics and the benefits of it, Seth, and just I'd just close out with saying, to everyone that's listening, if you're not a hunter, there's not a better way to spend time with your family in the outdoors, hunting and fishing in our great state. We've got a lot of public land available here, well over 3 million acres of public land, and go to our game and fish websites, and we've got a lot of opportunities. And we actually are working on some through our programs, trying to find more opportunities on private lands in partnering with
industries and large landowners. We've got lease lands available through lease programs, but the bottom note is to get out, enjoy the outdoors, spend time with family, and be safe.
Well, hey, we're called the natural state for a reason, and
exactly.
We've got plenty of state out there for people to explore and enjoy. So, well, JD, thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate your expertise on the show.
Well, thank you, Seth, and thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, absolutely. We want to thank you for joining us this month for the Voices of Forestry podcast. As always, we want to give a special thank you to some guy named Rob McCormick for the use of our theme song, The Same Love. That's off of his album, The Folkster. You can find more of his music on Spotify, and we're also going to link, as always, to his website in the description of this episode. And again, a special thank you to our sponsor this month, PotlatchDeltic. Thank you to them for their support of this show. And if you want more information about the Arkansas Forestry Association, you can visit us at arkforest.org. That's ARKFORESTS.org. And join us next month when we will have a new topic, a new discussion, and a new Voice of Forestry.